This is ProductiveRecruit for organizations. So if you're a director or recruiting coordinator with a club, high school, or recruiting business, this demo is for you. We do have a separate demo for athletes that you can check out. So what we see here is our dashboard. This is just an overview of our activity and engagement in our organization. So all the athletes and the emails they're sending, the amount of times their emails are being opened, email links are being clicked. So like YouTube videos, huddle videos being clicked in their profiles, being viewed. So if I hover over any day here, I can see those metrics. I can come up here and filter for, let's say, the last 7 days. So it's just a quick glance at engagement and activity on the platform for your athletes. We have a recent activity feed over here just to get a quick glance of the latest things happening. And yeah, that's the dashboard. So let's move on to the My Club. If you're a high school, it will say My School. If you're in a recruiting service, it will say My Agency. The first tab you'll land on here is your Athletes tab. Before we go over looking at what your athletes are up to and things like that, let's go over quickly how you would invite or get your athlete users on here. So you will see an invite option up here. And you can either add an athlete manually by just adding their email, which is how they log in. They'll get an invite email with a password. Now, if your users, whether it's an athlete or a coach, do have Gmail, if the email is a Gmail, they will have an option to also log in with Google. They do not have to use an email and password if it's a Gmail account. So that's one option. And when you're doing that, if you already have teams set up, you can assign them to a team or two. The other option is sharing the group invite link. So you just copy this and send them a text. That will take them to a page that looks like this. I will show you. So it'll just take them to a page where they can enter the group code from the message you send and then set up their password. They can choose their team. In this case, we're a volleyball club, so we have men's and women's volleyball as sport options depending on your group. There might be more or less sport options there. And if they already have a ProductiveRecruit account, they can just simply connect their current account to that. So coming back, that's how you get athletes on board. The final way, which is very popular among high schools and clubs, is we can import a spreadsheet, whether that's a Google Sheet or an Excel sheet, what have you. You can work with our team and we can import that when you get started. That's an easy way to do it if you have a bunch of athletes in a sheet. So that's getting people on board. And now the athletes tab itself. So from here, we can filter by things like grad year or team or sport. So for example, if we want to search for 2027s on this team, we can do that. If we want to search for a certain athlete by name, we can do that. And there's also some other cool tools on this page that will save you time depending what you're trying to do. So for example, if you wanted to assign all these players to a team, you can do that with a bulk action and it will, assign everyone checked at once. If you want to do something individually for just one of the players, you can click the ellipses, the 3 dots over here, and there's some different options such as resending their invite, copying their profile link, adding commitment. We'll go over impersonation, which is how you log in as them. So play around with it. There's some different tools. But let's take a look at one of our athletes. So just to look at their internal dashboard. So if I click on Maya here, and again, this is a demo account. So these are all made up players, but it's a realistic account with real data. So I can see here Maya's recent activity in the last 14 days. I can see her outreach and engagement chart. I can filter this as well, similarly to our dashboard. I see here profile links. And this is also to highlight that athletes on ProductiveRecruit can have 2 recruiting profiles if they are a dual sport athlete at no extra charge. So we can see that Maya, her primary sport is volleyball, but she also has a field hockey profile. Down here at the bottom, which is a great feature for recruiting coordinators working in one-on-one with athletes, is a note section. So we can add any note. And what will happen here is this will just save it as a private note that only I can see. So Maya doesn't even see this unless we want to share our screen with her, and college coaches, of course, do not see any of this. This is all private to our organization. If we want to see her recent activity, we can click here and kind of see everything she's been doing. We can click on this if it's an email to see the email that she sent to which coach, how many times that email has been, what links have been clicked, and how many times that coach has opened the email. So we get analytics on that. We can see link clicks here. So we can filter by all those types of activities here as well. So that is the athlete dashboard. There's also a view of their target list, so we can quickly see their target list and what schools they're ranking where, just to get a sense of maybe what they're interested in. Also, it's a good opportunity to maybe work with this athlete if they have, let's say, a bunch of D1 schools, but you don't think they should only limit themselves to D1 in case they're not quite at that level, just for example. So you can see their target list. They can fill out this college preferences form, and as we note here, it's private. So this is just a form that can act as an exercise for you going over what they're looking for. And finally, we'll go over checklists more, but you can see what checklist that athlete is enrolled in here. Okay, let's go back to this info tab here. And the last thing I want to go over is from here, there's some different tools. So let's say we want to add a college note. We can search for a college here and add a note, and this will add a note for that college to Maya's account. So she'll get notified when she visits this college's page. She'll see that note there. So if you want to collaborate on certain schools, you can do that. You can also assign them a task. You can associate that task with a certain college, for example. So again, if you want to, assign just one athlete a task, you can do that. Checklist will be how you want to enroll multiple athletes in a series of tasks. And again, we can impersonate and resend an invite, but I don't want to go over that quite yet. So let's go back to the athletes tab here and click staff. So this is how we invite our coaches and other admins. If you're an organization with ProductiveRecruit, generally we do give you unlimited staff users. You pay for the amount of athletes. We'll make a custom package for you. And so from here, you can always invite other staff members. So there's a few different roles. We have admins, which can pretty much do everything except for look at billing related stuff, which is what a super admin can do. We have coaches, which the cool thing about coaches is you can limit them to only view athletes on their teams. And if we select that, we need to assign them a team. This will make sure that if you're, let's say, a recruiting business that has different recruiters for different clients, you can make that recruiter a coach and then assign them to teams and then limit them to their teams. And then they're not going to be seeing the athletes assigned to other recruiters. Or of course, if you're a club or high school, you probably maybe just want those coaches to see their players. So take advantage of that. So that's how you invite staff members. You can just do this. It'll send them an email to the email you select here, and they'll get an invite to log in. And if they are restricted to their teams, you'll see this little lock right here. You can also impersonate these users. If you are a super admin, you'll be able to convert another user to super admin. And archiving. So just like, let's go over archiving. So you can archive staff members. That removes them from the account. But what's more useful to go over is you can also archive athletes. So let's say we archive this athlete. If we're paying for 100 athlete accounts in this example, that opens up another slot. So you don't have to pay for athletes in perpetuity. If athletes graduate or move clubs or high schools or what have you, you can archive them. It won't delete all their data, but they'll lose access. If you want to convert them to a personal account, you can select that option and email them to notify them. That way they can still keep logging in and upgrade to Pro on their own if they want. So that's archiving. Let's go over to teams. So on ProductiveRecruit 2, we usually let you add as many teams as you want, and athletes can be on more than one team. You can add a team up here, select a sport, select a coach. Very simple. If you're also giving us a spreadsheet, we can import teams and coaches as well, as long as you have columns for that. So let's click on one of these teams to go over it. So there's a few things to go over here. One is order by. This you can order by jersey number, their name, grad year and position, which is my favorite because it gives a nice searchable view for college coaches and breaks down each player by their grad year. The squad tab here is how you can view all the athletes on the team. And if you need to temporarily hide someone from the team profile, you'll have that option, or just removing someone from the team. If you do select the manual option here, you'll be able to reorder them on this page. The staff is where we just see the coaches associated with that team. The share link here is how we can get our team profile link. So if we click copy here and open this up, we can see the team profile site that we can share with college coaches. So a few things to point out here. One, like I said, there's filters here for grad year and positions. So college coach coming here can easily find what they need. If a player has committed, we do grade them out. That way coaches kind of just know. We don't really need to look at those players. Down here we have our schedule, which I haven't gone over that yet. If I come back, there's a schedule section here, and you can actually import your schedule with a CSV, a calendar, invite, a photo, PDF, and we'll use an AI tool to analyze your schedule and import all those events for you, which makes it really easy. So, or you can add an event manually. And when you do that, the events will show up on your profile as on your schedule, and these will also show up on your athletes' profiles. So if we click My here, we can take a look at an athlete profile. So they can feature a video at the top. We'll see all their most important things like GPA, position, grad year at the top here. Their videos front and center. Contact info, their athletic info from their teams, positions, measurables. Here are the events, and these are the events associated with our team, and this will link back to the team profile. I don't want to go over everything here in depth because there is a separate athlete demo, like I said, but that's just to show you that the team profile will link out to the athlete one. And if we come back, the other thing about the share tab is you can print this as a brochure. So I know for a lot of our soccer club partners, for example, they print these out and hand them to college coaches at showcases and matches. And you can see here there'll be a notes section for college coaches. There's QR codes for both the team profile and the individual profile. And if they're committed, again, we show that. So take advantage of this. There's a full view like this and a compact view if you need to fit, let's say, like 20 players on a page. The default option fits about 10 cards on a page, which is usually what we recommend. Okay. The other thing to go over is there is a way to embed your teams or your commitments on your club or high school or recruiting service website. So if we click preview here, we can see what that looks like. We don't really have a ton of athletes in this organization. We have about 11 or 12, but this is an example of what that can look like. So you just copy this code here, add it to your site, and it's a nice view of all your teams. And you can actually add a color too. So let's say our, club's color is this green. I don't know. We can preview that, and now all the links will be there to match my brand. Again, these link out to the players' profiles. So take advantage of adding that to your site. There is also a commitment widget, so you can highlight all your players that have committed. And then there's an athlete search as well. So this one will, maybe you want to put this on a private page on your website or something, but college coaches can come to your website then and search for positions in sports and GPA and stuff like that, which is really cool. So those are our website integrations. Take advantage of those. I think that is most of what I want to go over here. The last thing, again, I want to go over on this club view is activity. So we saw the individual activity view for an athlete. Now we can see it for everyone in our organization. So you can see the athlete's name, the college, and the type of activity. We can also search for one of our athletes here. We can, again, filter by type of activity. So this is where we can see everything that's happening. On the settings page here, if you're a super admin, you can change your club logo, decide the primary sport. The only reason you want to select a primary sport is if you are a specific sport organization like volleyball or soccer or field hockey or what have you. That way, when athletes are signing up, they only can select that sport. But don't worry, athletes can always add a second profile if they want for any sport, and your admins will be able to search for colleges for any sport regardless. Speaking of, let's go over that. So as an admin, I also have access to the college search tool. I can also build a target list maybe for contacts I have. So if I come here, we'll see that my default sport, which I can set on my on my settings page, we can set our default sport. And as this says here, that just updates what defaults in the college search tool. But I still have access to other sports. So I know we're a volleyball club. Maybe we add our boys teams on here. I can search for men's volleyball as well. But I can clear the filters and then see any sport. Let's go back to volleyball though. So just like the athlete, I can filter by divisions, location, majors, school size, etc. I can add those to my list. I can email those schools. And I can also select an email template if I want. So again, maybe you want to put a team profile in the email template. You can test the email to yourself. You can save it as a draft. You can send it. So emailing, you get all that functionality. As an admin or recruiting coordinator, you can connect your Gmail, which if you're not set up, you can come to the setup screen here and it will walk you through that process. We also just launched reply tracking a few months ago, so you can always turn that on here. And that way, any replies to the emails you send through ProductiveRecruit connected to your Gmail will also come into ProductiveRecruit, which is super helpful. Email templates, you can make these email templates private or for your entire organization. I think these are not the best examples here, but you can write these out. You can insert variables here, such as your organization name or the college's name. You can preview what that template looks like, which here's a better example. So you can preview what that template looks like. I think something we'd add here is maybe the team profile. So let's find that, for example. Okay, so it added a link. We can make this private. So this is saying, hey, I want to use this template as an admin and I don't want my athletes to see it. And that's a good use case for this one because we're sharing the team profile. Now we can go over email campaigns. So athletes have access to this feature. And if you watched the athlete demo, you've already seen this. But let's go over it. So let's say we want to email some schools, some D1 schools in, I don't know, Alabama. It doesn't matter. We can select, let's just select the first, the head coach for some of these schools here. But again, you can email up to 50 college coaches at once. And this is a great use case for either athletes or recruiters to help their athletes in the recruiting process, because you could, let's say, reach out to a bunch of coaches about an upcoming showcase your club is running. Or if you're a recruiting service, maybe you want to email a bunch of coaches on behalf of your client and promote them with either a team profile for multiple athletes or their individual profile. So the first step is to select your coaches. The next step is to choose a template, which I think our better template was this one. Okay, so let's say promote U18 team. We can just name our campaign so we remember. And then on this last step, we can personalize the email to all these coaches. So you can already see the template has filled in the coaches' names here. We have our link to the team profile, but if we want to change anything, we can. So let's say, it was nice to meet you at the showcase. This is just to show you, if you do edit the email, we'll show you that it's edited over here. You can also edit the subject line. You can reset the template. You can send it as a test to yourself so you can see exactly what this email will look like. And then when you're ready, you can send the campaign. So again, you can send up to 50 at once. This is a demo account, so we're not going to watch it all send here, but I will show you on the athlete side what that looks like. So that's emails. Take advantage of the campaigns feature because it will save you time and allow you to reach out to many coaches at once. So let's go over now checklists. So checklists are a way to provide athletes with certain tasks they should be doing. Maybe your club or organization has a recruiting methodology or program you're running, and you want to make sure all your athletes are running through the same program or, performing the same actions. So let's look at this volleyball recruiting kickstart we made for this demo account. The 3 steps we've added are build your profile, create and upload your highlight video, and start your college coach outreach. This is kind of a good checklist for getting started with ProductiveRecruit as well. We can come in here and take a look at what a step looks like. We have some instructions. We're saying that this first step is due 7 days after the athlete is enrolled, and we're triggering it right away. So they'll basically, it will start for them right away. They'll get notified right away. And then it's due 7 days later. The next step is due 7 days after that. We have some more instructions. You can add links to these instructions if you want, bullets, rich text. And then finally, the last step is due 7 days later. So again, an athlete will get notified when steps are due so they can stay on track. There will be an athletes tab on the checklist where you can see if athletes have completed the checklist or not, what step they're on. You can add attachments, and then going over the settings here, one of my favorite options is that you can auto-assign the checklist to athletes in your organization, meaning anyone who joins, whether you invite them or we import them, can be auto-enrolled. So if you get checklists set up that are for everyone, it saves you some time to auto-assign them. If you ever want to mark a checklist as inactive, kind of turn it off, you can do that. And you can hide the next steps, meaning the athlete won't be able to view the next step until they complete the current one. Okay, that's checklist. Let's now go over how you impersonate an athlete, which is impersonating is logging in as that athlete so we can see what they see. And I'm not going to go over everything on the athlete side because we already have that demo. But to go over this again, you click the 3 dots here and click impersonate, and then you will be logged in as them. You'll see this impersonating card on the bottom left. You can always click end session to log back in as yourself. What I want to go over here is the checklist tab because we just went over that. This is what it looks like for them. They can click that checklist. You can see this athlete already completed the first step. They can click this to view the instructions for the next step, mark that complete. Now we can view the next step. So we mark that complete. So now we see that this checklist is completed. We can come in here and look at their target list, for example. Now we could edit their target list because we're logged in as them. But let's go back. So let's practice going back. We click end session. And then now if we come into that checklist and go to the athletes tab, we should see that this athlete completed the checklist. So that's an overview of everything in ProductiveRecruit right now. If you want to get help or you want to send your athletes to a place to get help, we do have one, you can contact support in here. We have an AI agent that will answer any of your questions based on all our documentation, so it knows everything that ProductiveRecruit can do. But there's also an option to reach out to our team. And then there's also this ProductiveRecruit Academy. So it's our documentation site. It has guides on everything, such as an athlete quick start that you might want to share with your athletes, how to, for example, connect your Gmail. And you can see here we have guides on all our emailing features, all our college features. For organizations, we have a few guides that we usually share with you when you get started. So one is this organization launch guide, which goes over the step-by-step of how we get you set up, how we support you, what you should be doing. It's all very intuitive. We have a getting started guide for athletes and families, which we will share with you. And this is something that you will want to share with your families so that they understand what ProductiveRecruit is, what it's all about, and how to get started. And then we have a branding and website kit here where we have some copy that you can copy and add to your website or send in an email. You can add our logo. You can use this example email to launch it to your families. So this is just to show you that we are here to support you throughout the process, and we'll be here to help. Thank you.